Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Logan with West Desert Wheeler. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing my RC crawler competition runs. So in this video, we're going to be recovering what I did right, what I did wrong, maybe what I could have done different to get a better score. But let me break down real quick. On this event, backups are counted. If you hit a gate, both sides are dead, and you don't get your progression points. The low score wins. Every time you drive through a gate, it's -5 points. If you hit a gate on the way through, it's a +5 for that gate. So let's get to it. I'm going to be using my RC competition crawler, which is an SCX10 II chassis. It has been highly modified. It sits on Capra axles, which is a detriment in some ways, and in others it is good. The reason being that with the wider axles, it's hard to fit through a gate with how these are set up. However, with the wider axles, it can get more sideways on a hill without rolling over. So we're going to take a look at how this truck fit in today. It is definitely not an advantage to be wider trying to fit through gates. The truck itself also runs a axial 3-gear transmission, and it's got a brushless Hobbywing AXE system in there. So it's got nice, smooth, low wheel speed control. Sky RC helped provide some of the parts for this build, as well as Rock Pirates RC. So shout out to both of those guys. They will be linked down below where you can check out their companies. Let's get to it and see how this footage goes. All right, here we are on course 1. Gonna go ahead and pull up through gate 1. This is a really cool formation where it's a waterfall, and then they set up the gate to where it's almost a full 270-degree turn. So we can see here, because of those wide axles, I can stay stable. And then that bottom right tire kind of anchoring the truck and allowing it to pivot around. I should have just taken a backup here because I clipped that gate when in reality, a 2-inch backup, I could have had that clean, and 2 points to backup versus a full 10-point swing as far as hitting a gate. I should have just taken the backup. Cruise along down this rock, and then we're going to shoot up this little hill. It is steeper than it looks on this camera. My camera is mounted to my controller, so as I'm driving one-handed and just pointing the controller at the truck. So sometimes it's not framed up perfectly. You'll have to forgive me there. I'm competing and driving while also recording myself to come back and do a video like this later. So on this course, there is quite a bit of room between these gates. So there are a few times where there's a lot of just kind of driving over weeds and whatnot to get to the next gate. There is a time limit on here of 10 minutes, and there are 10 gates. So you got to get moving. You don't want to spend more than 1 minute per gate if you want to have some time left over at the end. If you have time left over, if you time out, it's a 30-point penalty. So you definitely don't want to do that. Coming uphill here, nice and smooth, cruise right through those gates, not a problem. Again, gonna cruise along down these rocks. Now, this is an easy way to just do something silly and end up upside down, so definitely be careful when you're cruising along at higher speeds like that. Up here, gonna turn right and then follow this ravine up. And then the gate is on the left side of this V-notch, so it's always tough to straddle a V-notch and then turn out of it. You can definitely get sideways in there pretty easy, but I was able to manage to get through there pretty clean. The truck kept all tires on the ground. Big advantage of having a lot of articulation in a spot like that to keep traction down on the ground, not lifting tires, not dragging the belly, nothing like that. Now this one at the last second, I decided to turn sharp left and come up this hill and then work my way right where I had to like make another 90-degree left-hand turn uphill. This was a mistake. Basically, I watched other people do it after me, and they just drove straight up that without having any issues, where I kind of anticipated having some problems. So I was trying to avoid missing that ledge on the bottom. It just didn't line me up well for this gate. I guess now would be a good time to bring up the fact that I was the first one to run this course, so I didn't get to see anybody go ahead of me. I just kind of wanted to run out there and see what happens if I ran it first. A lot of people don't like that, but it's kind of fun to do that to me. I really like running first just because all the lines in my head, it's all completely up to me. So you had to work your way down to get over to the next gate. So I ended up just going down right where I came up, working our way across some boulders, trying not to get bellied up on something like that. So keep a little speed up. Then we're gonna go hard right uphill. And then there's another uphill right here, and then another 90-degree corner right uphill. So it's kind of like 2 stairs tall. Here we go. Working our way up between these cones, and I end up bellied up. So the further driver I go, the more clearance I had. Got through those cones, no problem. drive around top, and now we're going to be going downhill off camber through a sideways gate. This would be a big advantage to the wider axles, so I'm trying to hold close to the rocks on the right. Slipped on down through there, not an issue. Just trying to figure out where to go to the next gate. It's basically turn right, and then you're going up to the next gate. This is a fun one. It's got a little ledge on the bottom left. It's a V-notch through the top, so you kind of got to get your tire placement just right. There's a lot of little weird ledges that can move the truck if you're not expecting it to move it that way. And barely squeak past that gate. That is gate 9. I did not go for any bonuses on this course, so here we are working our way down. There's not a real smooth way down after that gate, so I'm getting ready to use some throttle coming down off this ledge right here. It kind of just rounds off into a pretty much vertical drop. Plopped out on the bottom, truck stayed on all 4 tires. The bonus would be to go straight and right up right there, but I decided not to. There was too big of a bump on the bottom side of it and just wasn't feeling like the truck was going to handle it. And so instead of ending up upside down, I decided to just bypass the bonus, work my way up this rock. Now we have to drop down and swing left up through gate 10. So off camber, turning hard. Turning downhill is always tough because you end up scrubbing a lot of your turn radius off. Now my back right tire dropped off the ledge, which makes the front left light. Squeezed my way through gate 10, and that's the end of course 1. All right, guys, we had a pretty good start with course 1. We kept the truck planted on all 4 tires. Now it's time to go in my second course of the day, where this course is not quite as spread out, but some of these obstacles are pretty tricky. Let's take a look and see how we did on this one. So our first obstacle here is an off-camber 4-inch ledge climb where you end up bellied up really easy, and you're just trying to keep tires on the ground right there. I end up on my skid plate, truck rotates around, and I end up just driving over that cone just to keep time down. I really don't know if I could have made that clean, so I don't know if I regret what I did there, although I could have taken it back up and tried one more time, but that's ultimately what I did, so that's what happened. So now we're coming into a steep drop. Nice and slow, controlled descent on the front. I want to get my rears as close to that gate as I can, centered between them before I throttle out. I don't want to throttle it up and have the truck do something unexpected and clip a gate. Working our way across this little bottom here. It's basically a river bottom out here in the desert. Work our way up some rocks. Now this one, I ended up in some trouble. So my first line choice is to come at this on an angle, but my tires are small enough that it falls down in that crack. Unfortunately, I actually think portals were a bad thing to have right here, because I watched some guys do it without portals and their straight axle just catches on the rock and it doesn't allow that tire to drop as far in as mine do. So theirs were not getting as upset as my truck was. So I took a backup. I took full advantage of that backup, getting way out of there so I could really get lined up on this course again. Now I'm going to try and straddle this, and then I was planning on turning left and getting up and out of there. Nice and slow, controlled. Right here, everything's going as planned. That tire dips in there, not so bad. I'm trying to let that rear tire get past the rock, and at that point, my front tire was not allowing me to actually pull that front end up, and I end up with 2 tires down in this big crack. Like, this is bad. This is really bad. So at this point, as I'm traveling forward, the tops of the tires are on the rocks, which actually pulls my truck backwards. I'm pretty much clear of this gate on the high side at least, and as I'm working my way along, my cab clips the cone on the low side. Now I'm just in this nasty crack where I really don't want to have to reposition my truck, because that's a lot of points, and you can see it's super bound up, and thankfully this Hobbywing AXE just kind of pops me out the other side and throttled through that one. Those are super powerful brushless motors. If you're not careful, you can break stuff. That was certainly an instance where I definitely could have broken something. I kind of just got lucky and didn't break anything. So now we're working our way down to the next gate. It's basically on the opposite side of where that gate was. And here we come up to this, another rock crack, but this time we're going to straddle it and climb it. And as I'm coming up here, the front tires just push along because the rear tires had so much traction now that the truck was stood up. So I had to take a back up to kind of get my tires repositioned so that instead of scrubbing along, they would actually grab and help rotate the truck. And that bottom right ends up on that undercut, and it almost flips my truck back over, so I just hit reverse to keep the truck on all four there. So I've backed up twice now to get through this obstacle, which is not helping my score. Working our way up through here, finally got my tires where I want them. Nice and slow, work our way up. And that passenger side rear clips that gate. I was not happy about that one because there wasn't much I could have done to really avoid that. A backup at that point, I don't know if I would have avoided it. So I'm not happy that I clipped it. Like gate one, I didn't really care. I didn't see another way around it. That one just put me so far past the gate that I would have to back like all the way back down to get through it. This one, there's not a whole lot to it other than just hope that you clear it, get lined up, and then you're gonna shoot off of this drop. So I just floor it from here, and I stay on all fours, but then I end up with my nose right into the front of a rock, have to take another backup. There's a lot of backups on this course where there's definitely some I could have avoided. Working our way around, and I actually go for a bonus right here. I hadn't seen anybody else try it, but I wanted to give it a try. Now, a bonus gate is only worth negative points. If you hit the gate itself, it just zeroes out and it doesn't count for anything, so you might as well go for it. So I'm trying to get this truck worked our way up here, trying to avoid reverses, because any reverse you take to try and make a bonus, that stays on your score the whole time. So working on this right here, truck starts to pivot around and the tires fall off of the walls. So at this point, I'm just square right up on my skid plate. This is not a good place to be. And my axle's too wide to not hit that cone as I'm backing up there. And I'm trying to just work my way up this ledge. I decided right here, you know what, let's just get out of here, work our way around the bonus. So I zeroed out on the bonus. That's not a big deal that I hit that cone, but I did pick up the extra reverses, which weren't necessary. So that's a downside there. This is an interesting little V-notch with like a vertical wall on the left side. So as you can see, it really upset the suspension on my way up. Just trying to stay nice and slow and controlled. Plenty of room there. Turn right out of the top of this. Now this one looks like you can go left and try and work your way up that gate, but that's a way nastier line than if you just went right and scooted around that ledge. So that's the line I tried to do here. You always got to keep that in mind. Look at the ultimate like picture of things and what the easier way is to get up it. So there we go, turning left. You don't want your back left to slip too far down there because you don't want the truck to come off there. Had to take a backup not to hit the cone, but that was worth it because I don't hit the cone. Backing up 2 points versus 10 points, like I've been saying, definitely worth just backing up to get clear of it and get your line right. Working the truck around, coming back downhill. Now this one I saw a lot of drivers make a mistake on. Instead of going where I am and making the U-turn and coming uphill, they were just shooting straight into it, and as they would put their first tire on the ledge, it would lean their truck further and further downhill, where I saw a couple people tip over on this or hit cones, which is not good. So right here I ended up bellied up, decided to back off, go way down to the bottom and get a more aggressive angle on the ledge. I'm trying to one tire at a time climb this thing. So there's number one, number two is the second front. Right as it gets to the top, the left rear starts to climb. Now I'm just trying to avoid the gate, but I have to keep passenger right here to help keep the tires on the ground. And I have to cut passenger as I'm coming up. Then I go full driver and it pulls the other rear tire right up. So I was able to one tire at a time get through there. I'm pretty proud on how I did on that one. I felt pretty good about it. I had to take a backup to get it just right, but it was worth it. So here we go. This little canyon, the other trucks could fit down into, but if you were the wrong width, you could end up bound up in there really bad. So I just decided, my truck is wide, so I put tires up on top of the ledge and tried to just drive on through here. Working my way through, end up just turning right to get off of that ledge, and then I've got to basically do that last obstacle again, just without gates. Just one tire at a time, I just full throttle it, get the truck to pop up it. And now we are down onto gate 10. Gate 10 is a really tough one. It's off camber, downhill, and then you've got to make a 90-degree right-hand turn with ledges. So like everything's going against you on this. My truck was super wide, so I was just basically curious to see if mine could do it. I'd watched 3 or 4 other guys all roll right about here. Their trucks would start to roll. Mine's still holding on, but it's looking like it's starting to go. So at the last second I floor it and I clip that gate 10. And unfortunately, that ends out my run on course 2. Well, Course 2 did not go as smooth as Course 1. I was still pretty dang happy with it overall. I did take a lot of backups. A couple of them were absolutely worth it where I didn't hit the gates, but a couple of them I probably could have avoided with just a little more calm and collected driving versus a little more manic and crazy excited from the competition aspect of it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown. Be sure to check out the links down below. If you pick up anything through the affiliate links down below, it helps support my channel. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. And next time you're out at an RC competition, keep the rubber side down. We'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.